What's up, everybody? I'm Big Mike.
And I am Brando.
And this is Brewheads.
You damn right.
And the Lord said,
Brewheads!
So today we're at Broken Symmetry, and we are with Chris, co-founder, head brewer.
Hi.
We have Rachel. You also brew, right?
I do. Everything that I learned was from Chris. Then, so.
and also does the distro.
Yeah.
So this phenomenal beer you guys made.
Yeah. This was.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you.
No,
We were excited.
Yeah. Very excited.
Lots of traditional styles.
Yeah.
You know, not just the. You know, obviously you have the stuff that's out there to put put money in the bank. You know, to keep the doors open and do what you guys like to do.
Keeps the lights on, you know.
But man, some of those.
I get it.
Those traditional ones, the two Belgians, the blonde, the triple, the blonde.
Yeah.
And that New Zealand Pilsner.
That was really good.
That was a good twist.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I've heard that you like those Belgian beers.
I
Heard
do.
that through the grapevine.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I love brewing them, so.
Yeah, you do a really good job.
Guys, thanks for coming in.
Cheers.
Appreciate it. Awesome.
Sure you don't want anything? I know someone that can get you some.
I know. Just gonna take it.
Oh. Yeah. Nice.
So this one is the
This is the Enlightened Monk.
Enlightened Monk.
This is the Trappist single style. So this would be the Belgian blonde style that the Trappist monks would brew for themselves to drink while they work. So
Okay.
yeah, so they would make this is usually the beer that the monks are drinking, lighter ABV.
Yeah.
Usually only exclusive to the monastery. They probably wouldn't send this out in the old days, but they do now. Some of the Trappists will send out their Patter's beer, the Father's beer. So they'll send those out.
What was it called again? Because we were
we were
trying to get it.
we weren't sure if we were saying the terminology correctly.
The Patter's beer?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Father's beer.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So, yeah, Patter's beer.
Is this the one that I was reading on it? It's like the monks would use as like their final rinse of the beer, and that was what you would get. So it wasn't as strong as
That's interesting.
flavor-wise as the first.
I think there were all kinds of ways that they would get down to like a low ABV
Yeah.
beer for themselves, and I'm not sure they do that now. I think they probably just do it straight up.
Yeah.
But they could still take like final runnings from the mash and then kind of transfer those over and make a really light session beer out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually starting a new series of beers too. Belgian table beers are like a really amazing style of beer where it's low ABV, like up to 3.5%, usually somewhere around there. So
The kind that would be really nice with like dinner. You just put it out on the table.
Oh
yeah. So
Drink
so it's a Tafel beer, what they call it, or table beer. So I'm about to start a new series here at the brew pub, but no one knows that. But except now everybody knows that. But yeah.
Can't go back on it.
And
I know.
I've been working with a new hop supplier, and they sent me some samples, which is great.
Okay.
So yeah, that's really cool. So and I actually saw them at the Craft Brewers Conference. So yeah.
Oh, was that the Minneapolis?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was out in Minneapolis.
I saw lots of Instagram posts of craziness going on.
It was fantastic. It's just tons of seminars and classes and you name it, from sales and marketing to distribution to yeast and hops and usage of those and all that stuff. So it's
That's
fantastic. Yeah, and all the equipment suppliers. So you walk in, it's like it's like Disney Epcot Center for brewers.
And also they are shiny, so it's like, ooh,
Yes.
shiny.
yeah. It's,
For us, I think for us that
Beautiful.
would be like going on the Snap-on truck.
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
god.
yeah.
Like you go on your.
I would appreciate that too.
Yeah.
For
Tools
sure.
and
Tools
shiny
are great. Tools are great.
Cost.
I put my Snap-on dealer through his kids through college.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
So the Belgians, I love brewing, and this is just something that I always wanted to do, a Patter's beer. I always wanted to do a Belgian single, Trappist single, and I hadn't brewed one when I was homebrewing. I decided, this was like, 2 years ago now, I think I brewed this beer,
Yeah, it's been 2 years.
the first batch, and I said, I'm going to use floor malted Bohemian malts, and from Wireman, and I'm going to use this and that. But it's very simple. It's just Pilsner malt, some a little bit of dextrin malt, and some noble hops, and that's really it. And a Abbey style yeast, Abbey yeast. So, and it's just a very simple beer, but the yeast, it's what we call.
Now that you're talking.
Belgians,
I know, right?
Belgians is what we call like a yeast forward beer. Right?
Yeah.
So yeast is like the thing that's really the component that's generating those amazing flavors that you're getting out of the beers, as opposed to relying on hops for an IPA or a pale ale. You rely on those hop profiles those flavor profiles to give you those, that the impact in the beer, the majority impact, flavor impact of the beer. But this is like just letting that yeast do its thing and just.
Is that where you get like the spices and the?
Yeah.
I know in the.
There's no spices in this beer at all.
Right.
It's all from the
just
yeast.
yeast.
Yeah, it's all fermentation.
From, no, it wasn't the Enlightened Monk.
The
Rebellious Monk. That one
Yes.
was just like I swear someone had mashed up banana and put it in.
The
Clove.
banana notes.
Clove
Yeah.
and banana.
So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Dark fruits.
So in that beer, it's actually it's interesting. So in the Rebellious Monk, which is you kind of take your single, and then I took the single recipe and I said, well, I'm now going to make a triple from that recipe. So I was inspired by the single, and so again, it's also very simple. Not a lot of specialty grains in there, but then you add some Belgian candy syrup. As well, so you use more grain, of course, to get the gravity up. And then there's some clear Belgian candy syrup too, and that helps give you more alcohol without adding a lot of body. It dries out the beer nicely. The yeast goes to town on that sugar. It's simple.
Oh yeah.
So it goes crazy on that, and then you end up with a higher ABV. So you're around 8. What are we on? 8.5, 9 on that beer.
9.
Yeah, we went to.
Yeah.
I think it went to 9.1, but I think it's 9.0.
What, the labels were already printed?
No, so they give you a 0.3%.
Yeah, they give you the very.
They give you a range. But yeah, it's around 9%. But I don't think you could really tell.
No.
Right?
No.
No.
It was such
That
a
was-
dangerous beer.
That's where the danger came in.
It was like dessert.
Yeah.
That's when you know you did it right. Whereas, because the monks would want you to come to church and they give you a beer in the old days. They said, oh, if you come to Mass on Sunday, we'll give you a beer. And then they want you to just kind of stay. You know? So they want you to relax. So they trick you into that 9% triple, and you're staying.
No one's driving their car home.
Although I don't know if the triples came later, and but anyway, it's kind of funny to think about, right? But
Singles weren't keeping the people
no,
in the seat
singles
very
were great, but they always wanted another one. We're the triple. They're like, I'm good,
Yep.
So just fantastic styles where it's the same yeast too. So you have the Abbey yeast that I like to use, the house Abbey yeast that we use. It's just provides that profile that I really, really like. So it worked out really, really well.
It's a great beer.
Yeah.
It is.
This beer is a great beer, and the Rebellious Monk.
Yeah. So and you notice this one. So the higher ABV, the higher gravity. Sometimes you got to put a little more hops into the recipe to kind of compensate for that. So, but it's not a very bitter beer, but it's just enough bitterness in that triple. Whereas in the blonde, I think there's a little more bitterness to it, which is typical of the style. So the monks would they typically don't use a lot of hops. It's not not very hoppy beer, not a lot of hop spice, but in the blondes, I think I don't know if it's just like we're drinking it while we're working, so we want a little more bitter flavor, stay awake, I guess.
Yep.
I don't know.
Works for me.
So I think it's a nice balance. Those just a little bitterness from the hops, and then that spice from the yeast. It's just a nice balance.
Yeah.
And I'm always striving for that balance in styles. Whether it's a sour. I believe in like true sours. I believe in like fermenting out the fruit.
Yeah.
I believe in, this was our first the Orion's Belt that we did. It was the first time I was doing a hybrid beer. It was sort of a hybrid fermentation or mixed fermentation of a sour yeast and a farmhouse strain.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it has a little bit of that farmhouse funk in there, but it's subtle. and it dances nicely with the apricot, raspberry, and cherry that I put in, with the lactic acid producing yeast that I also used. So it's a combination of all of that together. And I ferment out the fruit sugars so that it's still dry, but you can taste the fruit. It's really nice. It's refreshing. The flavors are there. The apricot is very forward on the apricot. It's 3 to 1 ratio. So it's 3 apricot, 1 cherry, 1 raspberry.
Oh, okay.
By 3, it's actually 15 gallons of apricot, 5 gallons of raspberry, 5 gallons of cherry. In a 5-barrel batch.
The apricot isn't as potent as a raspberry or
Yeah,
cherry,
no,
right?
yeah.
So you
So
have to
You
combat.
need more,
Yeah, so when when I'm formulating recipes like that, or you're thinking about it, you kind of you're kind of immersing yourself in the process, and you're like, what are these flavors going to be?
Yeah.
So I, and I don't add any extra sugars or anything like that, or or lactose or anything like that, because I want a sour to be tart and sour. I don't want to add sweetness to it, or give people any agita, from lactose sugar. But I think that, again, that's another beer that's kind of inspired by my love for Belgian styles, and it has that farmhouse yeast in it, so it's a Belgian farmhouse strain as well. So that's just kind of goes with that, goes with that style, those styles I appreciate. So yeah, I'll pour a little bit of that one too.
Yeah, because we had the peach sour.
You had
Yes.
peach theory.
Yeah, which was I'm a sour guy, so I enjoy true sours. I don't mind the.
We're in a train
Yeah,
station.
yeah.
I don't know if you know this.
So we're in the old. Yeah, this is the old train station, 1899, 1898, 1899. This building was
I'm
built.
putting it out there. Can we take this of day drinking here and then go night drinking at Great Falls?
Yeah, right.
Again,
That would be-
it's a drive.
No, I mean on the train.
I wish we could take the train up there.
That would
I
be
wish.
awesome.
I know, because we drove up there recently. It was a really beautiful drive. It was
It is
amazing.
a drive.
So
But
yeah,
we did think
and
to
they're in a
ourselves-
train station too.
Yeah.
So I know it's great, right?
We did think to ourselves a bunch of times, we've got to be there by now.
Oh yeah,
Hold on, wait. You guys are an hour away from us, so I can imagine.
yeah. It's an hour and 15 minutes away from me.
Yeah, for me, it's an hour and
To Great Falls.
20 minutes to Great Falls, because it's all back road. There is no highway at all.
How long do you think it took us to get there?
It was an hour and 20 minutes.
Was it 20?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
from
you
here.
know what? It is East Connecticut.
It's straight up.
So you're going
It's
straight up.
north.
We're going
Yeah,
straight up.
You go
Yeah.
straight
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
We go in a diagonal
Okay.
on every back
Oh
road
God.
in Connecticut.
Granby, East Granby, Barkhamsted. Oh God, where was it? Winstead, Winchester. Oh my God, it was just so many towns. And then we got there, and then that was one of those ones where it was a tough ride home.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Those transporters haven't been invented yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need that.
It was Chris and Jonas were just like,
Yeah.
here, try this, and we take a marshmallow and roast it and put it on top. And we're just like,
Yep.
Mike, you're driving.
Very,
There's no way I'm doing this.
they're very generous.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So we all are in this industry. We're all that's something that being out at the Craft Brewers Conference or even just with what we do with other brewers and and how we help each other out and everything like that. We are a community
Yeah.
Yes.
of brewers
Yes.
and I think that and that's for me that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get into the into the industry too is just that feeling of camaraderie
Yeah.
and all that. So
big family of distant cousins.
yeah, it is
One state.
and we're all doing it because we love beer.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing it.
Nobody
like-
wants to see anybody do badly.
No.
We're not in competition with anybody.
it's competitive in the market, but it's
we
not.
just push each other to
but
do
we
better.
but we
Yeah.
do push each other.
It's
that's
one of those friendly rivalries.
Yeah.
I push you to be great so we can be great.
Yeah.
Unlike in the auto industry where it's just like, fuck you.
Yeah, we're trying to kill you.
I want to take all your customers and I don't want you to have any. No.
Yep,
I want you to go out of business.
Yep. Or and then we want to buy your
I want you to go out of business so I can buy your business and then be happy.
Well, the great thing about brewing that I have found, because I'm a recent transplant to the brewing community, is like that not only is the sense of community always there whenever you walk into a new, brewery or meet a new brewer, they're always, talking about, just like we have been, like how we did it, or like what we're coming out with, or and everybody gets very excited, and I love that part of it. But I also really just love the fact that, like, when you see somebody making something, that they've really thought about it. That's a recipe. That's somebody sitting there and going, I put this together and I've made it into something, and that's why it's called craft brewing. It is a craft. And unlike a lot of other industries where you're just trying to grab customers to get the job done, this is like, no, every brewery is putting out something special, something unique. So that's why it's important that we're all here, all of us breweries, I think. You could always get something new, something different.
Oh, yes.
It's definitely an industry where I feel more is better. Of the craft, the craft beer industry, not the ones trying to dominate. But when you have, a craft beer industry, everyone's trying to help out. We were amazed. The first owner that we ever talked to was Tony at Back East. We went in, and we were just BSing with him, just chopping it up. We were just talking. We weren't doing an interview or anything, and he's like, oh, no, hold on, I got to go take a call. So he goes to take a call. He comes back, and then their brewer at the time, Keegan, who we're still good friends with, comes out with 2 bags of grain. And he walks out, gives it to someone, and comes back. And it was just like, the hell was that? It's like another brewery needed 2 bags of grain. Like, what? Like, no.
Oh, no, we do that a lot. We do that a lot.
We're in the industry where it's like, if, there is no, I got you this week. Get me next week. But we're in the industry of, stealing customers and trying to do this, and so it was we were mind blown of just the camaraderie where it's competition, but it's like, if I hear you're doing this beer, I'm only going to brew that beer so that we can compare and just enjoy those 2 beers together.
Sure.
Or like an inspiration, like, I didn't even think of that.
We learn from each other too, and then there's also the fun things of when we like things like collaborations and things like that, where we'll brew beers together and
which is mostly just hanging out all day and drinking. Like home brewing, when you sit outside on your get everything
patio
together,
and you're
pay
just
your patio and you just drink all day. I'm assuming that's the same thing.
We've done that.
We've done that.
It's like the same thing. And there's always the one guy who's doing all the work, and the other guy.
It's usually you.
And everyone's hanging out.
It's almost like a union job.
Hey, you stir that again. All right.
It's okay though. We don't mind.
Get that grain out. All right.
Yeah. Who's your grain hoe?
It's a nice hoe.
It's a nice hoe.
It works great.
It does well.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
The people who I think are like the quintessential Connecticut givers are Mark and Tessa Voracious.
Yeah.
And
So
they're almost
retired. I started.
Really?
I started brewing. Gosh, I can't even remember how many years ago now. Probably 15 years ago now, I think, something like that. Maltose Express in Monroe is where I would go and get all my ingredients, and get advice, and from Mark and Tess, and amazing people, just awesome, and just great friends, and and they're responsible for, I think, many of the Connecticut professional brewers, people who went pro, and
absolutely.
So amazing people.
But the sour. So
Yeah.
I was very amazed by the balance of that sour, the peach one.
Oh, Peach Theory, yeah.
Because of the fact that it was tart enough for me to enjoy it as a sour lover, and just hard enough for him to enjoy it as someone who doesn't really
enjoy it.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I've only had one other sour that didn't have lactose that was able to toe that line.
Yeah.
And I was just amazed at the fact that, you know, without no lactose, without no, you know, none of the
it was a straight up, it was a
graham
traditional
cracker,
sour.
yeah,
Like real.
And the peach flavor was
Did you say cheesecake?
pronounced.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
They do
Yeah, they do that.
Cheesecake.
Yeah, they do that.
We don't, but
It's a thing.
So so that one has been brewed in a few different methods. So brewed and fermented. One is the one you had was a kettle sour method.
Okay.
So it's just lactic acid producing bacteria, and then you add the again goes to the fermenter after the kettle souring process, and then we'll add yeast to that. There's a Belgian strain that goes in there, and then from there, in secondary fermentation, we add the peach. So the peach goes in, the peach puree. In secondary fermentation, the yeast wakes up, starts fermenting that out again, but it's enough, and peach is pretty strong fruit profile, a lot of strong flavors in peach. So it's enough to kind of like keep you interested, and it keeps you there. And then the pH we shoot for like 3.5, 3.6, so not too sour. And then we probably do I think the mash was a little higher. It was not a dry, like a low mash temp, so there's some body to it still. And I think it's a great balance between that sourness, the peach flavor. It's not like, oh my god, my mouth is caving in, you know, from the sourness.
Our craft rep, Jess, she's amazing. She came in here. She took one sip of it. She goes, "This is summer in a can."
Yeah.
No, it definitely
Yeah.
is.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's what we put on the can. Summer in a can.
It definitely is.
Yeah, but so even if you're drinking in winter, you can still pretend you're summer in a
In winter, I'm fine with pretending it's summer.
Yeah, exactly.
Give
right?
me all the tools.
So it's all good. It's you're
Here,
right.
drink beer.
Yeah.
I love beer. I love brewing it. I will drink an imperial stout on the beach. I don't care, in the summer. I don't.
I would too.
I mean,
nothing wrong with
there's
that.
nothing wrong with that. I know that there's like kind of like the, seasons and this beers and this season. I'm not.
Well,
I get it.
Tom M does say it's always stout season.
Always stout season.
I agree with Tom.
I can't knock it.
It is always stout season.
I did have a 120 minute on the beach one time.
Yeah, Dogfish.
120-minute IPA on the beach.
On the beach?
On the beach. What did I do after I drank it, Chris?
Yeah.
You
Gotta be
flipped our canoe. Yes.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought 120. We did a video, and I think I was the only one
You
that
was the only
really
one that liked 120.
And I
Oh,
bought
I
it
love
3 or 4 or 5 times after that, just like the singles.
Yeah.
I don't want 4 in my house.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, so I just get 1 because the time. What 120 does to me is it causes a very large, ill-advised window of decision making. And that's when I would have the second one.
Yeah. Sure.
And you don't want, what is it, between 14 and 18, depending on batch and, whatever.
It's up there. It's up there.
No,
yeah.
man. 1.
So the trick with that beer for me is like you can get the 4, get a 4-pack of it or whatever, and then put them down in your basement or a closet.
Yeah.
Put 3 away, or hide 1 in that area, hide another one in another spot.
Yeah.
And then
The problem is I'm hiding them.
I know. No, you get someone else to hide.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah, do that.
Get Chris to hide them.
Because I had
In his
one that
stomach.
was I had aged it for 5 years. I had managed
wow.
to do it, and it was just exquisite. It was just
You know
absolutely.
what? I would like to have one that's aged a couple years because me, like, a fresh one or one that's only been like a year.
A little green one.
It's just way. I mean, I like bitter, but
yeah,
it's like I'm eating hops.
yeah. It mellows out a ton over time, and it gets very smooth. it's wonderful.
You know,
I like the bite.
You know, I'm just gonna have to buy one. And
I like the bite.
With my aged stouts and.
Don't
Exactly.
give it to
Put it away.
Brando.
No.
Put it away. Let it sit.
That's why he got the beer.
Yeah, that's why I came to get the beer because otherwise that video would be
gone.
gone.
It deserves some time to chill out for sure.
That's very funny.
Yeah, but and you guys had the Orion's belt, which is the one we were talking about, which is the farmhouse, and so that one's.
Have you had that one yet?
No.
That one was the apricot.
No, we had the.
You only had the peach.
You only had the peach.
Oh, we're gonna pour the.
Yeah.
Let's pour the Orion's belt for you guys. The Orion's belt.
It smells awesome.
You preempted.
Oh, all right, ready?
There's a delay.
I heard it.
All right. Here's the Orion's belt. This is
Cheers.
our mixed fermentation sour, farmhouse, and lactic
It
acid producing
smells
yeast.
amazing.
I'm not watering, which is nice.
No, yeah, that's.
It's like
there's
usually like
there's
a
some
faucet.
sours when you smell it, it'll automatically tingle the jaws.
My
and
mouth
get your mouth
waters.
salivating just from the smell.
Oh yeah.
I'm that special.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, yay!
See, it's very. So I want the sours to be very approachable.
This is super.
So I
approachable.
get a little puck,
Little
more than
puck.
the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I like the.
What's that little last flavor?
That's the Saison yeast.
Probably.
It's got,
That's
'cause
amazing.
You get a little weedy spiciness
Yeah.
at the end, and then the flavors though. You're right about the initial flavor. It has just that touch of farmhouse to it,
Yeah.
which is.
You probably get like a little peppery.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little pepper note in there, and but everything's just kind of mingling and hanging out together.
They
nicely.
do well.
That is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, this is exclusive to the brew pub here. We haven't looked into, we're thinking about how we can distribute this one, but
Would you have
it's
to
an
do
expensive
this-
beer to make because of the fruit purees.
Would you
Okay.
have to do this different for distro, or like canning wise, or storing wise?
No, so these are the fruits are fermented out. It's not cold fruited. This is again the fruit goes in secondary fermentation. We ferment out the sugars.
So it's not like a bomb.
No, no.
We don't serve bombs.
No bombs.
Bomb-free brewery.
So no, it's safe to can, and the farmhouse strain I use is non-diastatic, so as well. So that means that it's not going to keep going on, breaking down.
Once you kill it,
sugars. It's just gonna end. It's just gonna stop, and so and I let them finish. I don't rush the beers. I let them finish. So right now this is exclusive to the brew pub here, and we do have some cans of it left. But I will be brewing another batch of this, though. It really
It's a good
great.
meld.
So this was
It really is.
so my partner Kevin. We went to college together. My business partner Kevin and he. We were both physics majors and Fairfield U, and we both kind of fell in love with beer about the same time. 1997. It's about the time we started going to My Place restaurant in Newtown, and really learning about beer.
Yeah.
So we got really into like Cantillon and the true lambics from Belgium, where those will like turn your mouth inside out. Those are like incredible sourness to them and tartness. But that's what they are. They're amazing. So we were talking about brewing I said, I want to do this sour saison, and he's like, we got to do like the holy trinity of fruits, and I'm like, all right, which ones do you want, and I was like, I think I know which ones, and yeah, it's apricot, raspberry, and cherry seem to be like that trinity that we were going for, and then when it came to name the beer, it was like, oh, there's three fruits. Like celestial things, so it was like, Orion's belt, the 3 stars.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the fruits of the 3 stars of the beer, but not without all the other celestial objects that help make up the entire constellation or the nebula there, which would be everything else in the beer. But it's funny because even the color, and I get kind of crazy because I'll take my flashlight out and light it up. But I mean, you could see like that is gorgeous.
Yeah.
That
It really
looks
is.
like
Yeah.
some celestial object out
like
there.
a beautiful stained glass window.
Look
Yeah,
at that.
absolutely.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Like fire.
So you have a ton of that apricot
in the Church of the
color.
Monks.
Yeah.
There you go. But this is very popular here at the brew pub, and it, and I think it actually works really well with our food too. So, and it's one thing I always wanted to have was a food element in the brewery. When I was looking to set up this brewery, it was like I love food. I wanted to have something. So you're like, oh, let's go to the Broken Symmetry. It's a brewery. Let's go try the beers. Oh, well, while we're here, they have a really nice menu. Let's
gourmet burger.
Let's just stay here.
The menu.
and like, instead of like, have to go somewhere else to get food or go out to a food truck, let's just order here and order another round of beers. And so
it makes sense.
Makes sense, right?
It all fits together.
Yes. Hand glove.
It's a lot of work to have both elements in one space, and it's very challenging. But I think in the end, it's so worth it.
Oh yeah.
And but it takes a lot of dedication, and as the the full-time owner, I'm here. I fixed the doorknob yesterday. It's just like, you just have to like do it. You got to do. So we can't, kegging and canning today, and we packaged our Pale Blue Dot, which is our Czech pale lager. So there's two different style Czech lagers, right? There's a Czech. There's a few different styles, but the pale one, there's Czech Premium and Czech Pale.
Yeah.
And the pale is in the 4% range alcohol, so it's really light. Easy drinking.
Yeah.
But it still has this wonderful body and richness of flavor. So it's a fantastic beer. So that just got packaged. That may be at Rising Point.
Ooh,
okay.
I have a log of that I put aside. So I may.
For that half hour, I'm going to be.
Yeah.
How long was that beer chilling, like dropping?
So
out,
I call that a 12-week beer. I call it a 12-week beer.
Really?
So that one is the lagers and the pilsners. I'm lucky to be able to have some tanks that I dedicate to those, and I just let them
work.
That's usually what, 5 to 6 weeks.
So
on a typical.
So for ales, you can you can turn them in 17 days or whatever. I'm usually like 3 to 4 weeks on an ale, and then for lagers, I'm like 8-week minimum.
Wow.
From brew day to package. But if I can go longer, I will. I'll let it just sit cold and lager it, and just let it do let it really clean itself up. And
what are you looking at from, say, start to that 3 months?
Yeah.
That tells you you're ready.
We drink it.
Okay. All right.
There you go. There you go.
I think there's an incredible difference when you taste a lager that you're like, all right, it's finished fermentation. I've had it cold crash now for a couple days, a couple weeks, I should say, and then you're like, all right, let me taste it. You're like, it's good. Not ready yet. It's not ready yet. And then you're like, and I have my chefs, so I'll here too, which is nice. So for me, in terms of sensory, if you're, I don't know, for me, you can have all kinds of incredibly expensive instruments, right?
Yeah.
To test things.
Yeah.
But if you have, a chef who's a super taster, or someone who can really
Nothing better than the mouth.
No, nothing better. And so I'll be like, hey, taste this. They don't say no ever. I don't know. So I'm like, hey, taste this, and and I get feedback. So what's really awesome is being able to say, hey, this is where we're at now.
It's just a train.
And then they get
It's a train.
Are you gonna get it?
Is it going that way?
It's coming from there. It's going this way. Yeah. There it goes. There it goes.
Just in case you didn't know,
Yeah.
we're trying to get it to stop here.
Yeah, we wanted
God.
to. Yeah, would that be amazing? We're gonna get this up.
The whole
Next
light.
stop, Broken Symmetry.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Like, I'm not going home.
Yeah.
I'm not going- We'd have all kinds of angry spouses calling here.
No, they would just meet.
They would just come here.
Meet
They'd
here,
just come here. No, that's true. They would.
I'll meet you at that Broken Symmetry.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. That's the best way.
That's
right?
the best way.
Yeah.
I mean, I say I'll meet you at Broken
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so I think you get to a point where you're like, you taste it, and then you're looking at. So you're also looking at clarity. So for a lager, I mean, fruited beers, hazy IPAs, things like that. Yeah, those are
they're gonna be
wheat, Belgian wit, Hefeweizens.
Yeah.
Cloudy beers,
Yep.
right? But I'm a big fan of crystal clear beer
Yes.
for sure, right?
Yes.
Just something that's so beautiful about that, And we had just done a Belgian beer dinner recently, the first one.
Saw that.
Oh, it was just like it was a big deal for me because it was
Belgian beers.
it was Belgian beers, and
Yeah.
it was coming kind of full circle for me. And my friend Mark from my place was here, and the owner, and just to have him here and then come full circle from trying like Chimay Grand Reserve in 1997 to serving a Belgian Dark Strong or Belgian Quad at the end that I brewed in 2018 that I aged, and I happened to have it and I used it for dessert for the dinner, and having an amazing executive chef and head chef and sous chef team to put all that together. Wow, it was awesome. It was just we're doing more, so we're doing more dinners.
I'm sad.
Yeah, you guys definitely got to come to that.
The dinners are the one thing I can bring my wife to and be like, hey!
Yeah, so when we come out, we talk about the beers, we talk about the food, and we do these pairings, and I think that, but I remember looking at the beers, and I'm just like, oh my God, like the Belgian Double, the Alberti, it was just, you're just looking at it, and it's just this reddish hue, it's clear, it's darker in color, but it's just like,
It's perfect.
oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. It's, and tastes amazing. So, it's just great. So, but yeah, that was really nice to be able to do that. Have that Belgian dinner. It was fantastic to come full circle like that.
So Mark, as you were talking to guests, he came over on his way out, and I said, it's really wonderful having you here because you're the one that gave him his Chimay Grand Reserve that started this. This is an amazing thing. He goes, yeah, it did taste like Chimay. And I was like, it was really funny. I said, don't tell him that. Don't. He'll just
So, well, you're inspired by those beers, and you have those classic styles. So if you look at, Beer Advocate, which is like the classic, website or magazine.
The more impressive Untapped.
Yeah, well, that's where people would
actually.
Well, that's where people would really rate style, right? So you rate the style, and for so many years it was West Valletta 12 was the #1 beer in the world, rated on Beer Advocate, and but again, those styles that are just they are the example of the style. You have Belgian triples like West Mall Triple, and you have West E12, which is the dark strong quad, or Chimay Grand Reserve, which also rates very high and is one of my favorite beers. It's just so. It is what the style was written to. It's all right. We're gonna write this style guideline, and it's this beer right here, and this is what you have.
It ticked all the boxes.
You're gonna strive for this, and so for me, that those inspirations have what really has what driven me. Those have driven me to where I am now. So
I like that you're emotionally connected. Everything ties though, and even when you were saying that you would drink a beer and you would be like, no, it's not ready yet. It's not necessarily that you're maybe somebody sitting in the tap room would think this is ready. This is fine.
Right.
This will work. It's a good liquid. But the way that you do it, you're it's almost like a feeling, like those chefs who can tell when the souffle is done.
Yeah.
In the oven.
Yep.
Yeah. That kind of thing. You have a real good sense of when it's ready, what is perfect, when it's ready to go.
Yeah, I think when you design a recipe, you kind of have a feel for it, and I think with anything, right? There's some people can cook and some people can't cook, it's just kind of one of those things. And I think for brewing, it's very similar. I think you have to have a feel for it. And I think having a science background was always good. And but I've always had a science background combined with an art background. So having that combination has always been a good thing. The science and engineering is good to repair the items that go down and the pieces of equipment. And then the artistic side is, piecing flavors together and engineering the recipes that
now
way
you just
too.
need like a automotive tech
That's really
that
what
can
we
keep
need.
logistical things moving.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there.
There you go.
Payment in
I like that.
Orion's Belt Sour Saison with 3 fruits.
Do you like this one?
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not a
Oh
sour
yeah,
guy.
no.
And so this is the thing, right? It's
Alright.
approachable
Oh my
for
God.
you, right? It's not mouth puckering sour.
No.
It's just this tartness that's there.
Very.
So the trick is when you use both of those yeasts. So use that souring yeast that I used, and you add another yeast to it. It slows down the souring yeast a little bit. So so when you add the other one, it's like it's not going to go as far.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the pH isn't going to go as low, where it's not going to be as acidic. So that's kind of the trick there. So when you combine the two yeasts together,
It has like this slight subtle sweetness to it that blends so well with the tartness of it.
Yeah.
That is, it kind of like what we like to say saves people from the sour puckness.
Yeah.
Because you get this puck, but then you get this sweetness in there, and it just
Saves the day.
yeah, it saves your palate
Yeah.
from going through.
This is-
like you just ate like a pack of Warheads.
This is one of those beers you could introduce someone to sours
Yes.
and be
Yes.
like, okay,
Yeah.
if you can do this,
Yeah.
now start branching
Yeah.
out. Like this is a great introductory beer.
Thank you.
It's a
Sours.
gateway sour.
This is the
Gateway sour.
This is the gateway sour. I like it. Yeah.
It's a gateway sour.
No, it's great. I appreciate that. So
That's
but
yeah. I mean, we could just keep going with that.
so I
My
will.
brain, I already have.
I know.
So I'm going to redo this beer too in another version, which it's funny. So I mentioned my business partner Kevin, and so we have this. We both love this one particular saison brewery called Fantôme, and Fantôme. Their saisons have a little tartness to them usually, and so I was inspired by that one to make this beer, and we tasted it before we put the fruit in, and we were like, "Man, this is good." Like I don't know. And he was like, "Don't add the fruit. Like leave it." And I was like, "I just bought the fruit. I gotta add the fruit. I spent all this money on the fruit." So I'm like, "Well, I said I'll do it again." And I won't get the fruit this time, and we'll do one that's just unfruited version of it, and it'll just be a slightly tart farmhouse with no fruit, and I think that's gonna be fun. Yeah,
I do remember you tasting that I remember. I was down here and you were up there. And you tasted it, and all of a sudden it was like you could hear a pin drop in here, and I was like, "What's going on?" I was like, swear words came out of your mouth.
I was like,
you were like, "Oh shit, this is the best beer I've ever made."
No, I was like really kind of blown away that how those two yeasts worked together, and in the base beer, I was like, well, I don't need the fruit, like at all. I was like, well, the fruit's just gonna make it something different. And I had it, so I was like, well, let's go follow through on the recipe. Let's go all the way. But the discovery along the way was, oh, you know what? And that's one of the things that we do too as brewers. We discover things when we try different recipes and different ingredients, and you may along the way in your process go, all right, well, I'm going to do this first dry hop. All right, now I'm going to taste it. And you're like, I'm good. This is great. I'm not gonna do a second dry hop on this beer, or no, it needs a little more. So we have a beer coming up It's called Dragon Rider, and it's a blonde. It's called Dragon Rider.
Fantasy, mythical, Mike.
So it's a blonde. It's our standard model blonde ale, basically base recipe, but with dragon fruit added.
Oh,
and yeah, so but we ended up. So it tastes great. It tasted great. It was coming out great, but it needed a little, just something else, just to bring it home, push it over the edge. Yeah. And so, and I was talking to my sales rep at Hopsteiner, and I said, I need something for this beer, and we were going over some hops, and she was like, I was like, there's this one, like Trident. And I was like, maybe we should try this one. And I threw 5 pounds of that into the dry hop, and man, it just pulled it all together.
Did I say I was sold?
Yeah. So that one's not.
You have a beer coming out called Dragon Rider.
Dragon Rider.
You were looking at a hop called Trident.
Yeah. I mean,
come on.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we all try to go for the good names.
Right.
So what I'll do is I'm gonna pull samples of that out of the fermenter for you guys to try. It won't be carbonated, but it'll be like 64 degrees.
Yeah, we don't care about carbonation.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna get that for you guys to try next.
Customer.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna have the pre-dry hopping flavors, but I think you're gonna be able to kind of see.
So this
why.
has the Dragon Rider Trident?
It has the hops in it, the Trident hops in it.
Come on.
And I put it in Saturday.
Say I was sold.
So, I've dry hopped Saturday evening, so it's Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, so it's been like 2.5 days in there in the tank.
It's enough.
Actually, sorry, almost 3 days. Yeah, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, three days basically.
All good.
You dry hopped it Saturday.
Saturday, yeah, so 3 days,
Yeah.
a little over 3 days.
I had to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday was Mother's Day.
So I'll pull that. I'll pull sample.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I'll pull a sample for you guys to try.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
We'll allow it.
Yeah.
Another commercial break for Brew United.
Sure.
And I said I was sold.
Yeah, Mike is sold.
So this is the color is crazy. I can see on the screen.
Yeah. The color is.
Yeah. So
I love this color.
so in about 190 gallons of beer. Actually, at that point, it was fermented beer.
Yeah.
I put in 10 gallons of dragon fruit puree.
Yeah.
You can't say that really fast. Dragon fruit puree.
Now, did you buy dragon fruit puree, or
Yeah.
do you puree the dragon fruit?
No, I buy the puree.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's aseptic.
Aseptic puree.
That would take way too long. To
Oh,
have to
man.
puree
That's-
dragon
Think of
fruit.
how many
Yeah.
dragons you'd have to
Yeah,
harvest.
yeah. for
Yeah.
real.
They wouldn't have even been able to film Gang of Thrones.
So
No,
this,
no, they
so
wouldn't.
this has about 5 pounds, 5 pounds of that hop as well. So I dry hopped it.
Triton?
The
Trident.
the Trident hop.
Trident.
Trident hop from Hopsteiner. Yeah, you can smell that. So you can smell the hops.
I haven't tried this one since you hopped it.
So I'm the only one? I'll let her go. I want to go last.
Right. So think about this carbonated and at like 42 degrees. It's probably the perfect temp for that.
I
Right.
really like that.
So it's
Like a candle.
there's a little bit of there's some citrus notes in this hop, but there's also a little bit of that herbal
Yes.
Yeah.
in there
Like a
too.
little tea
Yeah.
Yes.
at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I say
Carbon-
herbal,
Herbal.
Herbal.
but I think it balances really well with the.
This is pleasant. I really
Yes,
like this.
Carbonated, this is going to be delicious.
This
Yeah.
is gonna be so good carbonated.
So it's a completely different beer now than. So it was Mary, our GM, who was like, "Hey, like I don't know, I'm thinking I want to do some, let's do a beer with dragon fruit." And I was like, "All right, let's do it." So I said, "Let's take the blonde, and we'll add the dragon fruit to it." And then when I was tasting it, I was like, "Oh, it needs something else. It needs this dry hop." And I think it's right on. So I'm going to start the cold crash now to kind of precipitate the hops out
I
and
don't
everything.
think I've ever had a fruited blonde ale.
I've
Yeah.
never had a fruit blonde.
No.
Yeah.
They've been done, but I don't. But there's not
It's
very
so
often.
mellow
Yeah.
that the hops actually they shine.
The hops
do
are shining,
shine.
but the dragon fruit's there in the background.
Of course
which
it
is
is.
really cool.
Yes.
It's crazy, right? Yeah, it's kind of wacky. It really is. I mean, I didn't expect it to come out this way.
But I hope that people see it out on the patio. You know, somebody drinking it out on the patio,
Yes.
and people are like,
Yeah.
"What's that?"
Yeah.
What?
They'll be going
Let's see.
by on the train and being like,
Look at that.
what is that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
See,
right?
that's fire.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That is fire.
It's fire.
So, yeah,
As the kids say.
and this will clear out too. This will be crystal clear after I drop out all the hop precipitates and everything.
Precipitate.
All the hops,
Precipitants.
hops precipitate out. But it's a little cloudy now because
Yeah.
of the dry hop.
This is so good.
It was because it was clear before.
It's so good.
This is fun. Yeah, it's fun beer.
It was good.
Yeah.
Well, I did bring a can over here.
Yeah, so let's. So this is probably one of the low fills from today's canning run. This is no, probably not that low, is it? Let's see. Oh, you took it out of the case. Oh, it's not one of the low fills. This is
It's
one,
not the low fill.
This is one of the good fills.
Okay.
Good film.
Nothing but the
Ooh,
best.
I can see that
yeah.
from here.
I can read through that.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Look at
Oh
that.
my. The way I like it.
Yeah.
It's crispy.
Yes.
That is.
Crispy boy.
Crispy boy, crystal clear.
Crispy.
Yeah.
Crystal clear.
I love the slight amount of haze in the Pilsner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, just
Ooh.
it's very clean.
Super light.
Yeah.
Super clean.
So yeah, so it's like this was 12 weeks. Yeah,
I
at
think
least.
it was longer.
This
I think
one
it was
might have been
actually
longer.
14
And
weeks.
this one's called.
Pale blue dot.
I was like, I just like waitered you.
yeah. pale blue dot.
Everything's good. Blue dot.
Pale blue dot.
Pale blue dot.
Like what Carl Sagan called the Earth. Pale blue dot.
I could just.
Ooh.
I haven't even sipped it yet. I could just.
You're in it.
Okay.
You can swim in
You're
it.
in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Enter the matrix.
Into the matrix. I appreciate this. I appreciate you guys being so into it, and you guys are like me. Because yeah.
You all right over here?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. There's reasons why we drink beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And none of it has to do. Well, 2 out of the 3 of us, if we're all here,
Yeah.
2 out of the 3 of us drink beer for these reasons.
Yeah. Flavors.
Clinton, on the other hand,
Yeah.
is ABV.
Yeah.
okay.
Everything is.
ABV.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's a horsepower freak.
Yeah. He's,
so it would be like,
I
Alright.
want to get to that point really quick.
yeah,
So this is
Yep.
yes, this is 4.3%. This is the Czech pale lager style. It's their lighter what they would have at the
I could drink this all
pubs.
day while barbecuing.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the type of beer it is,
Yeah.
for sure.
And it's a pilsner style, so it has more. It's a little more bitter.
yep.
Yeah.
A little more hop presence there than say a pale lager.
But you know what? It's not.
It's so good.
It's
Yeah.
the bitterness is very, very mild.
Yeah.
And
very
and
balanced.
actually,
It's
know,
balanced with-
it's
with the
very
sweetness
balanced,
of the malt.
and even a lot of the flavors. It's almost it tastes like a light pilsner. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Just like subtle flavors of a pilsner that just grab you.
Yeah.
So we had the Brewers Guild for the first time ever was like, hey, we'll do an event at your brewery. So I was like, I don't care when. Yes. Come on down, brewers.
Yeah.
And we're so far on one side of the state that it's hard to get everybody. But
Yeah.
but the gang from Two Roads showed up,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this beer was in the tank at the time.
Yeah.
Last year when we did it.
In the bright tank, yeah. So
And
it's
I
carbonated.
think all of those guys just stood at the bright tank. Just pouring off the bright
I just
tank.
kept pouring samples.
I
of
was
this
like,
beer.
My
"We're not gonna
yield
have any
seemed to
left."
suffer.
Yeah. I was like, I thought I had another 10 gallons. I don't know where that
Yeah.
went.
They were all low pours.
Yeah.
And then we were maybe drunkenly, but very graciously invited down to Two Roads to have a night with them.
Yeah, it was
And
great.
we brought
It's
some of
fantastic.
it, now that it had been packaged.
Right,
The
right.
one barrel that we were left with that we brought some back down to them, and then they did this. They passed it out to everybody there. It was
Yeah.
very nice.
It was Yeah, this is
that is amazing.
It always feels good when people enjoy, like you can see people enjoying the beer.
Yeah.
No,
usually from behind the tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that is so good.
Yeah, so this is definitely something to be proud of in terms of the time that goes into it, the investment. You know.
Because I mean, I know a lot of the smaller breweries, they don't really do a lot of pilsners lagers just because of the fact that
the wait time.
You know, they don't have the tank space to do that.
Yeah.
The fact that you're even, you know, with the size that you work with, that you dedicate, you know, time for this just is amazing.
It's patience, but also I've noticed, this is what I've learned, is that there's nothing to hide. Like if you make a mistake in a beer like this, it's very apparent.
This is the Speedos of beer.
There's nothing else there.
Nothing. You can't hide anything.
Nope.
It's either good or you're looking like, ooh.
It's either
probably shouldn't wear that. Probably shouldn't. Go with the trunks.
The Speedos.
It's all visible.
It's all visible.
That's, you know, I think it's probably the best quote that Mike. I was drink responsibly, stay wobbly, and Mike came up with the Speedos. It was just beautiful. But it's the pilsners, the lagers, the Vienna lagers,
lagers,
anything like that. You can't hide a mistake.
Can't hide the flaws.
I mean,
there's no putting milk sugar in there.
Yeah,
because we messed up. We messed up. Add some milk sugar. They'll never know.
Yeah, a running joke, which this part we're not going to put in. Continue. All right.
Well, it is easy to when you're making very hoppy beers. It's very easy to mask because the more.
It's not like, you know, you could probably get it after a while if you're sipping it and you're tasting it or you're letting it warm up. And you're like, wait a minute, there's the flaw. But yeah, with that, you know, a huge dry hop or something like that,
it'll mask it'll mask majority of the flaws in the beer.
Yeah.
And
except the base water profile is hard to. It's hard to.
Kind of. If you brew with sewer water, not going to be good. Right off the bat. Yeah.
So that was.
Unless it's the sewers.
So there's
Brussels.
a story.
Right. Yeah.
Let me grab that can. So there's a story about the about water. So for us, so I was brewing out of my house in Brookfield at the time when we were looking at, when we acquired the space before we started doing the build out. And I was like, let me just grab some of the water here. I'll bring some buckets down. I'll grab the water. I'll bring it home. I'll brew the beer at home with this water. So it's the only variable change, right? So I'll just use the standard recipes, some of my recipes, and let's just do that. So I did it, and let it brew the beers, and waited and fermented, and then kegged them up. And I'm tasting them, and I was tasting them out of the fermenters before I kegged them all the way. But I was like, it's not quite the same, And so I had the mineral profile of the water here, and I had my mineral profile of the water at my house, and I was comparing them. I'm like, oh boy. I was like, we're going to need a RO system. So I was frantically texting my partners, like, we're gonna need to spend another like $5,000 on an RO system for, to really, but having that gives me that flexibility to go, you know what, I'm going to brew this style. All right, well, here's my base water. I'm going to just make this water profile to this style. And it gives you that flexibility and that ability to do that. So that was, but there was a little bit of a panic before that.
Oh, I can imagine.
I was like, oh God, I'm going to make sure this water's right. So
when you're basing your beers off a variable without spending a lot of money, you can't control.
Yeah.
My beer does, it doesn't really taste all that good right now.
It makes a real big difference.
Especially when what you were shooting for and what you liked is totally different.
I'm just gonna drop this on the floor. I was trying to drop it on the floor.
It's funny how water, is can change a beer just so drastically.
So think about a delicate beer like this, right? So if you don't have the right water profile, it will change the flavor of this beer to a point where it might not be as true to style. It might be still good, but it won't taste like that Czech Pilsner should taste, you know. So, and without the right malts, and you know, again, it's a very simple beer too. This is just Bohemian Pilsner malt, a couple other little things here and there. And that's Saaz hops, just you know, simple, clean,
and 3 months.
And 3 months.
And 3 months.
And time. And time.
Right.
And cold fermentation, controlling fermentation, keeping it cold. You know, so yeah, but yeah, I'm a big fan of beers like this that are just the classic styles for sure. And you know, and like I mean, we do those, we do these, and we do these.
There you go.
You know, but again, you know, these are just fun ones to do that, you know, we play a little bit and give people something different to taste. And you know, so another thing we do too with the kitchen is that we incorporate a lot of beer we make here in the food. So our queso, our beer, it's a beer cheese that you can get as an appetizer to dip chips in and everything.
This week it was the Maxwell with the
beer
queso.
No kidding.
Yes, you add that to the cheese, the beer cheese, and you're just like with the queso, and you're dipping the chips in it, and it's awesome. It's awesome. And so then we'll do meats and we'll braise in the beer, or they'll do desserts and we'll do like a what is it, the churro chocolate? We do
the Mexican chocolate.
We do like a Mexican chocolate, and we add in
beer caramel.
We do a beer caramel as well that you can dip the churros in.
What about fried chicken, like beer battered fried chicken?
So sometimes we do beer batter for the fried stuff too. Yeah, so I know. Yeah, I know. It's awesome.
Our mahi is
so we have two, and we added another fryer now, so in the kitchen, which is really cool. So now you have one fryer that does all the non-seafood stuff, like for, you know, because, you know, we got to be careful, right?
Yeah, right.
So, but now we can do like the fish that's fried and battered and fried for the fish tacos. It's incredible. I know, I'm making everybody hungry now.
I'm very hungry now.
I know, but yeah, so we do that, and yeah. So
I'm proud of you.
so good.
She's hungry too.
Yeah, I know.
I'm also hungry.
Proud of you. I'm hungry.
Let's get food. Yeah, so you know, that's one thing we'd like to create this sort of synergy here with the food and the beer, and have that complete experience for people. So being able to incorporate in cooking and use it's right here.
Yeah, right.
And the chefs are like, hey, I have this idea. I want to, you know, which beer do you think would work with this? And I'm like, I don't know, try this one. Okay, let's try it. And sure enough, it's great, you know. So we try to do that too.
Anything with dragon fruit and trident.
Yeah, right. There you go. Trident hops. There you go. Yeah, so I'm excited for this beer to get released.
I know one thing: if there's not a dragon and a trident on the label of that beer.
I have the label. We have the, Rachel designs the can labels.
There is a dragon. There is not a trident. There's a sword.
There's a sword. But the was no.
The trident was decided after.
The trident. All right. The trident hops were decided after, but I think it was a nice addition though.
So I gotta ask, where did broken symmetry come from?
So symmetry breaking is a physics term, and I was a physics major, or actually it's in biology too. And so for me, without getting into what symmetry breaking is in particle physics and things like that, but I kind of like look at it in terms of fermentation. So where, you know, you kind of have this like ordered recipe of here's the amount of grains, here's the hops we're going to use, here's the temperature we're going to use. Is that kind of
this
recipe, rigid? It's all laid out. Okay. Then you do it, you execute it, send it into the fermenter. All right. Then we open up the fermenter and we put the yeast in. And then the Symmetry breaks. And it turns into something completely different.
Okay.
And that's where broken symmetry comes from. I kind of like the way that analogy and the way that sounded.
Depending on what yeast and whatever you do it.
Yeah, whether it's a little bit of a stretch from the actual terminology, but it does work if you kind of think about it, and so for me it was like, I think, because I was like, well, Symmetry Brewing Company. No, it's kind of too much. I was like, well, what if I just reverse the words? I was like, broken symmetry. Yeah. All right.
Flows.
The flows.
I like that.
Broken symmetry. And it's fun. It's different. It makes people ask that question, like, where does that come from?
Yes,
right. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, because things change so much when you put that initial wort into the fermenter. You pitch that yeast and it turns into beer at that point as it's fermenting. And you look at Belgians and the yeast gives you all those flavors. Or you look at a lager and the lager, all of a sudden, the lager yeast actually is not creating a lot of esters, but it's so clean that it lets that Pilsner malt come through that you used, or or the Vienna malt that you used for your Vienna lager, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can taste those wonderful malt sweetness that's there, but it's not. You taste the malts, but it's not sweet because it consumed a lot of the sugars.
Right.
But you're like, it's letting it shine. It's letting the malt shine through.
Yeah.
So that symmetry breaking can create so many different things. And for me, I'm like, well, I'm going to throw these hops in. And sometimes you do, you in an IPA or something, you're like, all right, well, I'm going to throw the hops in, and then all of a sudden, the hops will reactivate. Like the yeast will kind of wake up again, and you have a lot of things happening, and then you have sort of this biotransformation that happens, and then you get these other flavors that are different from the original hop flavors. Like you're like, oh, well, I'm throwing in this hop, and it's supposed to have tropical fruit, and like pineapple. It's supposed to have this and this and this, and you taste it, and you're like, whoa, I'm getting something totally different now.
Yeah. All I get is pine.
Yeah. All I get is pear and plum now. Like what? But there's all this stuff that can happen that nature does, and it's magical.
That you're not really in control of.
You're really not. We pretend that we're in control of that
right.
stuff.
Right.
I think in a little bit, we're a little bit in control of certain things. Like we're going to control the temperature.
Yeah.
All right. So the tanks are jacketed and they have glycol around them, and I can kind of turn that on and off and put a thermostat setting and keep the temp a certain amount. But in the end, you're going to let it do its thing, and you're shooting for a certain flavor profile, and you're doing a Belgian wit. I'm going to use a Belgian wit yeast, and and all right, well, what temperature are we going to control that at? Okay, and there it is. It tastes like a wit, but it's my own version of wit. Like it's not. So it's really neat that how the symmetry will break and that create that something completely different. Which is really cool. Yeah, it's magical.
I gotta say, like how you talk about beer and the passion how you talk about it is just impressive.
Yeah.
And I know you're not doing it to be, be like, wow, look at me. But
oh no, he's really.
It's impressive. Yeah. It is very impressive.
You can see the love. Of
it was either going to be this or like a teacher.
Yeah.
And I think that the fact that you're it was either going to be you were going to make you were going to inspire kids, or you were going to inspire people like us.
Mm-hmm.
he
And
does both.
yeah, I think we've absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We enjoy the inspiration.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I do too.
Yeah.
A lot. I always say that I try to match his level of energy with because you're so good at what you do and you're so passionate about it. It's really hard to. If anybody is lower than your level, it's very apparent here, and that's why everybody gives so much of themselves here, because we really believe in you. You are
absolutely.
this place. For sure.
Well done, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we just met you and we're proud of you.
Thank you. What else can I pour you?
Well.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
You're good.
And it's one of those things I can tell that she sees it and she's happy that other people see it too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I do too. Yeah, I do. And every time I go and I represent the brand, and I go out to a tasting or I go tell people about our beer,
Right.
In my brain, what I'm really talking about is Chris.
Right.
What I'm really talking about is what went into the fact that you now have a can in front of you.
Yeah.
Is this guy.
The passion is
For sure.
absolutely fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And I think
Thank you.
like we've been to so many breweries and, you know, and there's obviously passion because if there was no passion, then the places wouldn't be open.
Well, that's for sure.
Just
not
sure.
money.
It's tough. Yeah, and I think, but just thank you for being as passionate as you are about what you're doing, and I think it gives gives us material to put out there, and I think
I mean, it puts the beer on the whole nother
yeah.
level. We can tell the people who are like passionate about it and the money grabbers.
Yeah.
You can when you're drinking the beer, you can tell the difference. You know?
Yeah.
And it's passionate.
Yeah. Well done.
Thank you. Thank
Well
you.
done.
No, I fell in love with beer, and like I said, the late 90s, and we would, every month we'd go to a tasting, and for the first year of the tastings, we were doing like, it was at My Place restaurant, and they were doing a new style every month. So it was one was all lagers and pilsners.
Yep.
And we tasted like 15 different beers, and they'd bring the food out, and we'd have like, some pizza, fried raviolis or whatever it was.
Why do you keep talking about food,
I
man?
know. But then it was okay, and then it was all stouts, or then it was all Abbey style Belgians, and then it was all lambics and mixed fermentation and wild fermentation beers, and then it was all, I mean, you just tried all these different styles, and it was like you're learning so much.
Yeah.
Where you're like, wait, I didn't know this was a thing, and this was a style, and then I was like, wow, this is fantastic. And so, then learning about food and learning how to cook, and then I was like, I want to brew, I want to start brewing.
Yeah.
And then I fell in love with brewing, and basement at my house became a small little mini brewery. and then I was like, all right, and I'm in engineering, and I was like, professionally, and I was like, maybe I want to do beer, brew beer for a living someday, and I use the term for a living loosely. It's tough, it's not, you don't do it, you don't get into brewing beer to make money. You get into brewing, I mean, you need to survive,
right?
Yeah.
But you get into it because you love it, and you love what it stands for. Like I believe it's, for most people believe that it's the oldest fermented beverage on the planet.
Right.
Yeah.
Oldest fermented, and so there's so much history there that, beer possibly, created civilization, like it may have done that, and there's some speculation about that. So, and it's, we like to say, like, beer is family, everyone comes together. We want to do these community tables here because we wanted people to come and, come and hang out and talk to each other and meet new people and over beer. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
I
That's how
will say,
America was built.
Yeah.
For sure.
beer really can loosen the tongue.
Yeah.
And it makes strangers into friends.
It brings
and I
people
think-
together.
Yeah.
It should bring people together. It's like it's something that, when you, it's that community thing. So so you talk about, like, America, or pre-revolution, or during the revolution, like, I don't think that the tea was thrown overboard while they were sober.
Actually, I just did that mission last night on Assassin's Creed. Just saying.
So in the late 1800s, there's probably, the number of breweries were over believe over 3,000, but I could be more or less.
Yeah.
But somewhere around there. It was a ton. And we weren't, there was a small population at that time, right? Compared to today. You know, but that was the social network. That was, you know, it's frustrating for me because to see like the electronic devices and things like that when, you know, I think humans really crave what we're doing right now. This is fun for me, you know, to hang out with you guys and talk about beer and talk about the history of it and talk about the styles and the tastes and the flavors and like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like, this is delicious. Like, what hops did you use, or what temperature did you mash at, or, you know, what yeast did you use? I mean, but also like, you know, talking about the food and how the food, you know, we use the beer in the food and, you know, creating that full experience, you know.
Sometimes beer doesn't even have to be part of the conversation. At a table like this,
right?
Beer is the river that your boat is sailed down. Like it's the reason that you're able to have such an easy time, like hanging out and having a great time and meeting new people and sharing time with your family or with your friends, or
it truly is.
It really does open, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's just an accompaniment to a really wonderful moment. Usually it's over dinner, over, you know, date nights or whatever it is. It makes things special.
It does.
It does.
Absolutely.
I mean, for us, like, the past 2 years have been kind of like harder for us on the fact that we weren't able to go to breweries.
Yeah. The contact was so bad.
Yeah, and it was just like that's the fun part for us, is to be able to go out to breweries and talk to people. Talk to random people. I mean, just we've talked to so many just random people, beer and life and all kinds of stuff. So it's and then to lose that, it kind of just messed us up a little bit, because it was like, okay, so we can't go to breweries, and then it was like, oh, we might be able to go to breweries. Oh, you can't go to breweries now. Oh, you might be able to go. No, you can't go now.
Yeah.
Make sure you have a plate of French fries in front of you while you're eating. Like,
Substantial fries.
Yes, substantial fries.
Yeah, because that means you can't, you know, you can't get sick if you have food in front of you. You know, it's a gentleman.
Yeah.
It'll wait until the food's gone.
Right. He's eating. I ain't touching that guy.
Yeah. Nope, not going over there.
You know, that's kind of like why we started this, is because, you know, just the fun. You know, drinking the beer is only half the fun. You know, you get to try some stuff, but it just brings so much happiness and joy to people to just, you know, be at a brewery, be at a pub, you know, hanging out with people.
The thing that I've noticed just in the trends that, you know, during that time when everybody was kind of shut away, people still supported local.
Yeah.
They were awesome.
Yeah.
They came out. We have this little window over here, and we were, you know, passing burritos and cans out the window, and they would sit in the parking lot in the back of their pickups, and they would just like hang out and have like picnics out there, and it was the only way to kind of have some semblance of that experience. And people wanted it, they craved it. When we had the tents out, even though it was, you know, 20 degrees outside,
people still
that interaction.
They still wanted to be out and with each other and having that experience. And now, unfortunately, we've now seen a year where everything has risen in prices. And people have lost their unemployment. It's really hard for all of us to be maintaining, every single one of us, to be maintaining our own lives. And people have not come back to the breweries the way that we had hoped. And we are really hoping that people see us as a haven, a happy haven, where they can come and have a nice drink and sit down and have a family experience. And it's not going to, like, I don't know, just a brewery where it's you walk in, you have a pint, and you leave.
Right.
You know, we are
come in and be able to let that stuff go.
Right. I feel like we are a very special place because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
I
special.
agree.
We have a historic place. It feels historic when you're in here. You know, you can kind of put yourself in that time period.
3 trains so far. That's,
Yeah.
Oh, God. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
This wall over here is the original floor. All the backboards.
Yeah,
For
so-
Wow.
the train
Oh, wow.
station.
We ripped up the floor upstairs to put the tile down, so we repurposed that.
Bethel itself, this town has been incredible to us, but everything is in walking distance. Our 16-year-old doesn't even want to have her license because she walks from the house to the coffee shop to work to the
You
restaurant.
guys live in Bethel now?
Yeah, we live like right over.
Yeah, we're
That's awesome.
This is a very nice town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
So if you do come here for your pint and whatever, you can take a walk all through town. There's a vinyl shop, there's a toy store, there's a bookstore, there's coffee roasters, and you can literally just walk up the road, walk back down, and you'll have everything that you could possibly need here.
Come in, get a little silly, go buy some vinyl, some toys, go to the coffee shop, sober up, hit here before you leave.
exactly.
We even have a bespoke sneaker place in town, by appointment only.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, where you gotta
Yeah.
go get those Nikes that you
Yeah.
can only get for like $5,000.
yeah,
Yeah,
super cool.
this town is dope. This town is awesome.
Yeah.
So,
I wish it was closer to Hartford, so I could move here.
yeah. No, we do. We love it here.
Yeah.
So we're just really hoping that people come back to tap rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this summer
And they are.
is gonna be,
It's accelerating. It is coming back.
Start get these beer fests going, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you think the beer fests do things for the customers, or do you think one ticket they come and they get kind of silly and then they leave? Do you think that they like?
I think
learning
it's
about
50-50.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
some people see it as a quick way to just get obliterated
Yeah.
for cheap.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you have some people who are diehard, like they want to try out every brewery.
And who've never heard of some of these breweries.
Right, and they
Yeah.
want to try them out and try
And
out
it's
the
like
beers.
this is like their introduction to these other breweries,
Mm-hmm.
and then you start like bar hopping again, you know,
Yeah.
and brewery hopping and going around.
Yeah.
So I
Sure.
think it's like 50-50.
Right.
For us,
You know what? For us, it's like a social gathering. We get
Yeah.
to see a lot of people that we've talked to or that we've enjoyed company with in one spot. You know.
Yeah. I think that's great. Again, the social part is the
Yeah.
I
best.
think
Yeah.
they're awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean that's why it's so hard for us sometimes when we go to them and it's like we try to make the rounds and then enjoy the beer, but it's like I mean last year we made it 3/4 of the way in 3 hours. yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, we had 3
yeah,
hours. We made it 3/4 of the way,
Yeah,
and then the last quarter, everyone was closed.
yeah.
They were all like dried up, gone.
Yeah.
There was nothing left. And then we got asked to stay for like 2 songs of the music group that was there.
I forgot the music.
Because I mean, everyone wanted to see Johnny from Armada and
Yeah.
Sour Jess from
Yeah, they
you
were-
know,
they're
Alvaria
always
just
listening.
dance
Yeah.
because they just
Cute.
Yeah.
lose their minds and have
That's
a
cute.
great yeah. So that was cool. We got to stay there with all the brewery people and all the the regular folks were all gone.
Yeah.
So that was
The civilians.
the
Still-
cities. Yeah.
So this was brewed February 10th.
February 10th.
Yep, still in the fermenter, cold crashing. This is a pre-prohibition lager. So
It smells.
my take on one, and
It smells yummy.
so the German immigrants they came over. They said, well, we want to brew
Yeah.
our beer. So they brewed their style beer, the German lager style, but with American, ingredients that was grown on U.S. soil. So barley and then American hops, and so there was hops that they would brought with them. They brought like the plants
Yeah.
and like planted them, and then but then they're in the soil here, so they're different.
Yeah.
So true to style would be to using those legacy type hops and stuff like that. But then I probably took some liberties with this too and threw in a few different things. But But yeah, I mean, there's actually no corn in this one. This is just a straight up lager. This is very clean and simple, and there's some fun hops in here.
I love the fact that simple can also mean really, really good.
Yes. Yes.
So this is
flavor pops on this.
Once this goes into the tank, is this great?
I tried this a week ago.
So we tried a week ago and it's different.
Oh
right?
my god!
It starts to come in now.
Yeah.
It was not as crisp.
Yeah. Yep.
It has graduated.
Yeah.
This will get moved to a carbonating
See, you
tank.
got the feeling too.
Yeah. Yep.
It's funny how the flavor just, I mean, it's, once again, it's subtle, but pops so hard, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
I like that. What hops is that? You didn't use like cluster or anything like historical?
I use some German noble hops, and also I use a little bit of another one.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
I use something that had maybe some more citrus notes in it.
Okay.
But not a lot of it, like a pound in 200 gallons in the kettle. Not a lot. It's not dry hops.
It is a wonderful beer.
That is super good.
It is really
this
good.
is fun.
This
is great.
What's the ABV on this?
5.
5?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
Middle of the road.
Yeah, nice and light.
This is an all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is just out of the fermenters. Not
right.
So this isn't even carbonated yet, and we're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we don't need carb.
No.
You don't need carb to get the flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carb just adds a little bit to
That's
the
the
enjoyment.
aroma. You know, the bubbles.
I like how it feels.
The bubbles are popping in your nose,
The bubbles.
but you're getting a ton of great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is good. Man.
That's our pre-prohibition.
Oh my god, that is good.
Yeah. So.
Having a small system too allows you to have a lot of play.
Yeah, we
Is it a 7 barrel or a 5?
This is a 5.
It's a 5. Okay.
It's a 5 that I push it pretty hard to get 6 in the tanks, and so it's we push the boundaries here.
When she's going, don't open it.
No.
let her go.
No, let it go.
We didn't talk about that. What happened with the second way of the peach theory? How you?
So when we
Is it on the ceiling?
Yeah.
Is that where you're
So there was a moment where we were like, I think I can put the peach in now, the puree, and let's go ahead and do that now. And I was like, I think it's good. And then I poured the first box in. So they weigh about close to 50 pounds. So you climb up the ladder.
Yeah.
And for me, climbing up a ladder on a 5-barrel is not as bad as someone climbing up a ladder hooked onto a 10 to 20 barrel tank, like climbing up.
Was it Aretha Franklin?
It wasn't Aretha Franklin.
It wasn't Aretha Franklin.
I
Aretha
love
Franklin
Aretha
is Bright.
Franklin.
Yeah.
That's Bright Tank 1. But I'm trying to think. It's the corner tank. What is that one?
654.
Tank 4 is.
Tank 4 is.
Who is
Tank
that?
Aaron?
Is it Tank Aaron? Is that what it is?
This was Tanklin D. Roosevelt.
That's Tank D. Roosevelt.
God, that's so
Tank
good.
Aaron, Tank Sinatra's on the other side, Tanker Bell's in the middle. Tony Montanka. It's Tony Montanka.
Tony Montanka.
Tony Montanka.
Of course it would be Tony
Yep.
Montanka.
Yep. And then that's what happened. He got upset, and I poured the first box in, and Kevin was helping me. And all of a sudden I'm getting ready. I'm getting the other bag, the box ready, and and he goes, dude, and I'm like, what? He's like. It's like, dude. I'm like, what? And I look up, and it's just foaming out.
There's people in the tap room. Like the whole place. The kitchen is busy. Everybody's in the tap room. And
it's
now.
like, timing is everything. Isn't it? So yeah, it's just like, like, all right, well, we got to close that sucker up.
Yeah.
So the blow off is still on. It's still open. So that's fine. So I go up, and I'm like, all right, let's just give me the gasket and the 4-inch lid. We're gonna put it on and clamp it down. So I put it down, and it's still, even though the other line is open to let pressure out, it's still producing a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And because, all of a sudden, just the yeast started going crazy. And so I'm like, I close the tank. I'm getting ready with the clamp to do it. And I was just a little bit of a, because it must have had, I don't know, some level of PSI on there, right? I was like, boom, and just peach everywhere. It smelled so good in here. And then I was like, all right, hold it down, and then clamped it down, and but it made a mess everywhere. But I was like, all right, we're gonna wait another couple days. And now I kind of have a feel. Yeah, Tony Montega. Yeah. So that's what happened.
How do you know about Aretha Tanklin?
I was walking by.
I gave them a little tour up there. Yeah.
Okay, because the way we named Aretha was we had a Pink Boots Brew Day last year, and of course, almost nobody's in our tap room. All the staff was in. So the girls thought it'd be really funny to name all the tanks.
Yeah.
And I was like, but don't name all of them. We should put it out to the universe.
Yeah.
And on the New England Craft Beer Forum, I just posted, listen, we're naming our tanks. These are the tanks we already have. If you've got a good idea. We had 881 responses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
People loved it. They got super into it. There were some winners in there. One of my favorites was Vat King Cole. Love
Vat King Cole.
Huba Tank. LA. There were some really good ones. But Aretha Tanklin, in fact, she won. She got the RSPC ECT.
Yeah. So that's bright tank.
She's not blowing up all over the ceiling.
No, she's not.
Thankfully.
She's bright.
That's that's the carbonating, one of the carbonating tanks. So that's awesome. Yeah, it's great. That was great.
I mean, if you can't have fun, what are you really doing?
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
What did you do today? I named the tanks.
I named the tanks. So this is Nova. This is our it's a Belgian wit, coriander and orange. Oh, cool. And we actually opened with this beer as well.
Good way to open.
So, well, that's it, right? If it's part of the culture, it is about the flavor, right?
Yeah.
Right? If it's part of growing up, it's part of, when, you think about if I think about like my, great grandfather and my grandmother, and, he would make wine and, and things like that. It's like, and it's just part of life, and,
at one point, it was healthier.
At one point, it was safer to drink beer than it was to water.
Right, you couldn't drink. You couldn't drink the water.
You couldn't drink water. You would drink beer.
Yeah, so the Mayflower's coming around, and they're like, we just ran out of beer. Pull over. Like quick, pull over. They didn't go all the way down where they were supposed to go. They just had to pull over quick. And so what happens is you're like, all right, well, we ran out of beer. Now we've got to make beer.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they get off in Massachusetts, now Massachusetts, and they're like, oh, there's some beautiful rivers over there with some waterfalls. We could probably drink that. No, better not drink the water.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they could have, but they let's make beer. They made acorn beer, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That first beer was acorn beer.
It was acorn beer. They couldn't, because that's all they could find to make some kind of sugar for the
It
wort.
was that or rock beer, and I don't think that they were going to get too much flavor out of the rocks.
So it was, right. Well, there's something called stone beer, but we can get into that.
I did have a Rockbach.
Did you? Stone beer?
Cambridge House.
Nice. Did they actually take hot stones and throw it in?
They make it with
stones.
Cool. And there's such a unique flavor.
Yeah.
And I believe each time it's different stones, so there's a slight change. That's kind of
cool.
neat.
That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah. So you get it's with these countries where it's part of the culture in such a wonderful, friendly, respectful, caring, loving way.
It adds to it. It adds to the richness. Of that experience.
Yeah, I mean it's not a bad thing.
No,
it's a wonderful thing. It's wonderful, and so
treat it with respect, young.
Yes.
Go from there.
Yeah.
I mean, everything can be dangerous. Everything can be bad. Treat it with respect, young. Yeah. And now it's just an attribute. I just went cursive. Attribute. To a meal, to whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing. So, but traveling through parts of Europe in those days, I was learning so much about the cultures and that was around the time when I was just learning about really great beer and great wines too, but really great beer, which is, it's. Sorry, when I came back to the U.S., I'm like, all right, I got to find these beers. But yeah, it's incredible to be able to have those kinds of experiences and to be able to meet those people. I met some amazing people, when I was traveling around and between traveling to Israel and then Europe, and it's just incredible. It's funny too. We talked about the gateway beers, right? And things like that. Yeah. And that's for me when I, with food is like that too, so, teaching our kids about food and it's fun to do that. Like our oldest brought her to the sushi bar and there's the gateway sushi, right? There's the smoked salmon, but seeing the faces, where you're just seeing her face and she's trying this and it's just it's incredible to see someone blown away by flavors and you're like, I told you. And
wait, what was the face she actually made? Because it wasn't wow, it was.
No, it was. It's actually pretty wild because, I look over, and I see her from just past her profile kind of, and she's almost looks upset. I'm like, you all right? Is everything okay? Yeah, it's really good. And I'm like, what do you? Well, yeah.
Surely that's a good thing.
And it was I'm mad. I didn't try this before. And it's crazy, right? When you get to somebody that gets to that point. And so, and so when I introduce people to beer, it's very similar. So I've had people say, "Well, I don't like beer." I'm like, "Really? You don't like beer? Like, what have you had?" And it's always, I've had them all. I'm like, "What do you mean?"
What do you mean?
All of them.
No.
Yeah. What do you mean?
So I'm like, "What do you mean?" So then they'll describe a bunch of beers, and I'm like, "Oh, you just described the taps at Applebee's."
Yeah.
And so, and I always say that, and I'm like, "Oh, here, let me introduce you to this."
Yeah.
And so I would say,
what did my mom say to you about beer? This is amazing.
She goes, she's like, "Well, no, that one tastes like college."
That's fair.
That's fair.
I've never been to college, but I know what college tastes like.
Right.
And it's that.
I've never tasted. College has never tasted me, but that's what it is.
So then, so I say, all right, let me get one for you. So okay, so if it, at one tasting was, I got a Korzendonk brown ale, Korzendonk Abbey Brown, and I got a bottle, and I got a chalice. They gave me the Korzendonk chalice, right?
Ooh, so right bottle, right glass.
Right bottle, right glass. Because I'm at the beer bar in Newtown, right? I'm at my place. And so I'm like, "Here, I want you to try this." And they're like, "What's that glass?" I'm like, "Well, it's a glass." And they're drinking out of a bottle. And I'm like, "Well, this is a glass. This is elegant. It's a king's chalice. This
For
is
kings,
obviously.
obviously.
Yeah, right.
And you drink out of a bottle. It's not a glass."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Here, try it. Pour it. It's got a beautiful head on it. It's like gorgeous." All right, I'll try that. And it's like,
It's the inspection.
Yeah.
Is it the glass?
it's like, wow, I really like this. I'm like, yeah, that's not beer. If that's the response I usually get when I'm introducing,
This is beer?
Yeah.
like a really good Belgian style, or even just.
Did you say try this bitch?
Yeah. I didn't.
Okay, I know why.
He's less abrasive.
But I could have. But I was like, but usually that response is from anybody, that person or anyone else, and they're like, "Wait, no, that's not beer." I'm like, no, that's beer. That's what beer's supposed to taste like.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that." I was like, "Yeah, well, this is from Belgium, and this is this style." What do you mean style? I'm like, oh. So then I'm like, oh, well, there's like literally over 100 styles of beer and subcategories, and they're like, "Oh, you mean like different wines?" I'm like, but more. Yeah. But more, like
way more.
Yeah. So like, and with us,
we don't get to use just grapes.
Yeah. With us brewers, we have lots of knobs. It's for different flavors.
We can touch stuff.
We can do all kinds of different things to make a beer.
I had never had a sip of beer until I met Chris. And it was very funny. So just as passionate as he is now, it's really hard not to fall in love with beer when you're hanging out with him. Right?
I don't know if it's you or the beer, but I love it.
I love it. But it's really amazing to get that reaction. So I say 9 times out of 10, it's like,
you got a convert.
Yeah, you got someone who's like,
or a wife.
Yep.
It's like, I didn't know. And just like with certain foods, people try something and like,
ignorance about beer is allowed.
Well,
it depends. So the greatest story that I have, and I always say it, is like we started dating, and then you said, "Listen, if it's going to continue, you have to download the BJCP guidelines onto your phone." And they're still there.
I did say that. Well, because it's such a great reference for all the styles.
You know what? It really is.
Yeah.
No, it really is.
Yeah.
One date I had, I remember you literally gave me the Breeze, like poster with all of the different types of grains.
Oh, I had a poster.
You left me with it for about 20 minutes. You're like, "I'm just gonna go do some stuff. I'll be right back." And then when you came back, you go, "That's interesting, isn't it?" And I was like, I have no idea.
Like, Mike and I aren't a couple.
Yeah.
But we're trying to figure out what our SRM is. Each one of us.
Wait.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Brando, and I'm an SRM of 12. Like, hi, I'm Big Mike, and I'm of 94. Like,
I feel only if you're being rated for competition does it matter.
Right.
I love it.
And I also think that you have to have a sip to be able to actually, get the full flavor and color.
We'll never know.
Yeah,
You'll never know.
We'll never know.
No.
You did touch my butt earlier when you were walking by.
On purpose?
Just saying. No.
You should have said yes. That would have made this so much better.
It would have
solidified the 12 or whatever I am.
That would have just started a whole bunch of stuff that
Did you mean to do that? Yes. Michael.
I enjoyed it.
Going to Renee right now.
That's funny.
Oh man.
Well, thank you so much for doing this job, because this is a job that we make the beer and we try to sell the beer, but we're selling the stuff that we love. What you're doing is coming at it from a completely different angle, which is you love the experience of trying the beers, sharing that with other people.
Yeah.
That's something that we can't do as effectively as you guys can do. So we really do appreciate it.
We started out, it was a drunken night at a brewery.
Yeah.
And it was just like...
You don't say.
It was. It was. I swear.
I swear.
Believe me.
From what I can remember, it was.
And it was like,
Running.
I think we should review beer.
Yeah.
Because we had just kind of started to break into these new styles, and Clinton just had his, he had just told us that he liked cherry wheat.
Yeah, Sam Adams
cherry wheat. And he was just like, I didn't understand that beer could taste like this.
Because he was more of a liquor guy.
He was by all liquor. Yeah. And Mike and I just, enjoyed, we would always, once a quarter, we would pair up for the Sam Adams seasonal.
Yeah.
And we would just, at a bonfire at Clinton's house, we would drink our way through. When they actually gave a shit about what was in there.
No, I gotta say the last seasonal pack that I just got, which was kind of old.
The last Oktoberfest that you had from Sam Adams, how was it?
Oh, I didn't have
That's done. You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
It must be the water. But we would drink our way through the 4-pack, and it was just like, wow, like the blueberry Whitteber or whatever it was.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the blueberry.
And then the cherry wheat. Blackberry Whitteber.
Yeah.
And then we had the Boston Lager, which isn't everyone, which I feel brought a lot of people from Coors Light. But it was just like, you can make this caramely, flavorful lager.
Yeah, it was just so good.
And it doesn't have to suck.
What style is the Boston Lager?
It's a Vienna.
Vienna
Yeah.
Lager.
It's supposed to be Vienna lager, yeah.
And it's amazing. Still to this day, that's the one I think is still to me amazing. But
I've never had it.
Oh, it's good.
It's good. It is.
It's good beer.
It's a good beer. It's a good starter beer. I feel like a lot of people way back when, before craft brewery got real big in CT and concentrated, the Sam Adams was kind of like a lot of people's gateway into
craft.
There's something other than Budweiser, Because for me, that's what it was. I had helped a customer with something, and they gave me a 6-pack of summer ale, and I wasn't a beer drinker back then. I was more Patron all day.
Yeah.
My young days. And it was just like, I had the beer, and it was just like, oh my God, I didn't know beer could taste like this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it just opened up the door of just like, no, I need to have them all.
Yeah.
It's like Pokemon.
You gotta have them all.
I gotta have them all.
That's what we say too. Let me try it.
Yeah. Sometimes I think we've been told that we are the worst beer customers. Because we'll drink a beer and be like, oh man, that's the greatest beer ever. It won't sell for shit, but it is the greatest beer ever.
we like brewers' beers.
Yeah.
So something that a brewer would like the recipe and everything and care, and that he would share with all the other brewers around, and they would be like, this is amazing, and the customers are like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't really get it.
Yeah.
In
And
the
we're
tap
just
room,
like,
that stuff sells though.
yeah.
So out in the world, that might not move because it's
Right.
an IPA
Yeah, exactly.
heavy
Yeah.
market. But here, our Pilsners, our Enlightened Monk, our Patter's beer, that stuff sells here. Beautifully.
We've come to find out that the market, talking to a lot of brewers, that the market have changed in the breweries and in the pubs. That a lot of people are going, they're IPA'd out.
It's a shift.
And it's like, hold on, wait, there's other styles in IPA? Yes, there's other styles in IPA. Yeah. So it's like the shift has gone to, more lagers, pilsners, and it's, for us, it's just like, finally.
Yeah. Us too.
Finally.
Yeah.
We, Jim Cook, for the love of beer.
Yeah.
I think that's just why we do it, and we know that we've tasted enough of Connecticut to know that even though we haven't tasted it all, that it's one of the greatest beer states around.
Yeah.
I think you get one brewery in one state, and that everyone just focuses on that and doesn't realize that they can go to their local package store, they can have tastings, they can come to the tap room, and there's just this mass amount of amazing beers that aren't full of lactose and everything else. It's just
Glitter.
traditional styles.
Yeah,
Glitter. Oh, I haven't had a glitter beer.
No, I thought, didn't you have Bomb Pop? Bomb Pop had glitter in it.
Never had Bomb Pop.
You didn't have Bomb?
No.
Maybe I didn't.
You didn't share.
It was a sour you didn't.
I understand. But we do what we do because there's not enough people, even though there's tons of people that know. There's just not enough people that know that CT is strong in double dry hop, double IPAs, triple IPAs, and traditional beers.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's why we do it. That's why we travel. That's why we go.
It's awesome.
Because people need to know.
Yeah, people need to know.
People need to
It's
know.
too good not to know.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even lie. I've enjoyed everything I've had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Glad you did.
everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah.
Well, you can come back. We allow you.
Yeah, come back and
trust
just
me.
hang out and have some beers, have some food
Oh, we'll
with
be
us.
back.
we will be.
Yeah.
Especially with the food,
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
my wife may come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife will definitely come.
Have the food,
All right.
bring the wife.
We have
It'll be fun.
another Brewers beer dinner coming up. It's a ticketed event. It's on it's right after Father's Day.
Ooh.
So
It's
the
all
20th
gonna
of
be-
June, Monday the 20th of June.
Like, I'm gonna have Kolsch, cream
Oh.
ale.
They're giving it away here.
Yeah.
So just
There's going to be really good beers there.
think about the beers that your dad drank, right? All the lighter lager styles. We're
My
gonna.
dad drank Coke 45.
No,
That's true.
I gotta make something like that.
The Brewheads, Coke 45. Can you do a good, what was his name?
Coke 45.
It wasn't Billy D. Williams.
Billy
Yeah.
Williams.
Yeah.
That's it.
Got that Coke 45.
Coke 45.
Punch it, Chewy.
Yeah. They told me they fixed him. All right, I'm done.
Wow, that was really good, guys.
Yeah.
I appreciated
We just
all of
nerded
that.
out right there. That was an amazing nerd out right there.
Billy D. Williams is going to be watching this being like, morons.
Damn it. That's not how I said it.
That's how I said it.
But
Yeah,
thank
so-
you very much. I mean, we have.
Yeah.
Wow.
We talk a lot.
We talk a lot.
That's-
I sorry to keep you guys so long.
No, we enjoyed it.
I kept pouring because I was like, let's try another one.
You don't have to stop, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are not gonna tell you no.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That's good.
But thank you very much for having us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Our
being here.
pleasure.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
great.
We will come down again
Yep.
because
And we'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. See
See
you
you
at Rising
Saturday.
Pint. Yep.
Yep.
I'll be there.
and thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Bethel, Connecticut, Broken Symmetry Brewing.
Yes.
If you like traditional styles, good beer. They do have your double dry hop, whatever you want in the New England IPA game. If that's your thing,
we have that too.
They got that.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah, come on down, help them pay the bills because well worth it.
Yes.
Well worth it.
Yes.
Thanks,
and enjoy
guys.
the food.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll have to do that next time.
Yes.
Awesome.
Next time. I'm going to take the next day off. You do the same. Do the same.
I don't need to. I'm a grown man.
No, you're a manager.
I can make it to work the next day.
That's true.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
That is my downfall.
Brendo, you at work? No, I'm at home.
We were out too long. We were out too long.
Getting old sucks.
Yeah, oh, God.
Actually, it does.
Getting old sucks.
Awesome.
Mike and his old man bladder.
Yeah. So make sure you make it down to Broken Symmetry. And as always,
Drink responsibly. Stay wobbly. Check out Broken Symmetry, Bethel, Connecticut. Catch you on the next one.
deuces.